Welcome back to Dreamy Train Tales. Thank you for joining me tonight. Now let's settle down and begin our journey together. If this brings you peace, please like and subscribe so we can explore more historic railways together, but only if it truly helps you unwind. And if you'd like, please share in the comments where you're listening from and what time of day it is for you right now. If you genuinely appreciate these journeys, you can support my channel by buying me a coffee through the link in the description. Every coffee helps me improve and create even more relaxing adventures for you. Thank you so much for your support. Night has settled gently over Budapest Keleti station, and the great iron and glass roof above you glows with reflected lamplight. The air is cool but calm, carrying the faint scent of metal, steam, and distant autumn leaves. Gas lamps line the platform in soft rows, their warm halos resting on polished stone and dark rails, creating pockets of light that feel protective and unhurried. You stand for a moment, taking it all in, aware that this is not the hurried night of a city rushing home, but a quieter hour reserved for long journeys and lingering departures. The Orient Express waits beside the platform, dignified and still. Its dark blue carriages gleam faintly beneath the lamps, gold lettering catching the light without demanding attention. Steam drifts lazily from the locomotive, rising and dissolving into the night air as if the train itself is breathing slowly, patiently. The soundscape is subdued. The distant murmur of voices, the soft roll of a suitcase, the muted echo of footsteps. Everything feels softened by the late hour, as though the station has agreed to move more gently for those about to travel far. You step closer, your pace unhurried. A porter nods quietly as he passes, his movements smooth and practiced. Somewhere along the platform, a door closes with a cushioned thud, followed by the low clink of brass. The train is preparing itself, not with urgency, but with care. You sense that once you step aboard, the outside world will begin to loosen its hold, replaced by the steady certainty of rails and rhythm. As you climb the steps into the carriage, warmth greets you immediately. The interior is softly lit, lamps casting a golden glow across polished wood paneling and deep upholstered seats. The carpet absorbs sound and your footsteps become nearly silent. The air carries a subtle blend of leather, old wood and coal smoke, a comforting combination that speaks of long-distance travel and nights spent in motion. You pause briefly in the corridor, allowing your eyes to adjust, then continue to your seat. You settle in by the window, easing back and letting your body rest fully against the supportive cushion. The seat feels inviting, designed for hours of quiet travel. Outside, the platform remains visible through the glass, lamps glowing steadily, their reflections layered faintly over your own in the window. You feel a small shift inside you, a letting go, as if the day has finally reached its natural conclusion. A soft signal sounds somewhere down the train, followed by the muted hiss of steam. The doors are secured, the final preparations complete. You feel a gentle movement beneath you as the Orient Express stirs, barely perceptible at first. The wheels begin to turn slowly, deliberately, and the platform starts to drift away. There is no jolt, no rush, just a smooth, careful beginning, as if the train wishes to ease you into the journey rather than announce it. The lamps of Keleti station slide past the window, one by one, their lights stretching briefly across the glass before fading into darkness. You watch without effort, your gaze soft. The city beyond the station appears in fragments now. Quiet streets, shadowed buildings, a few lingering lights glowing in upper windows. Budapest at this hour feels reflective, as though it, too, is settling down for the night. As the train moves farther from the station, the sounds of the city begin to thin. The rhythmic clatter of the rails grows clearer, establishing a steady pattern beneath you. It is neither loud nor intrusive, but reassuring, a consistent pulse that gently invites your breathing to slow. You notice your shoulders dropping slightly, your jaw unclenching, your body responding naturally to the calm pace of departure. The Orient Express glides through the outskirts of the city, passing over switches and sidings where other trains rest quietly in the dark. Occasional signals glow red or green, their colors muted by distance and night air. You sense the train aligning itself with the long eastern route ahead, committing fully now to the journey. There is comfort in that commitment, in knowing that the path forward is set and secure. Beyond the glass, the last dense clusters of buildings begin to give way to broader spaces. The Danube lies somewhere nearby, unseen but felt, its presence marked by a subtle openness in the darkness. You imagine its wide, slow-moving waters reflecting the night sky, carrying their own quiet rhythm parallel to the rails. The thought drifts through your mind and then dissolves, leaving behind a sense of spaciousness. Inside the carriage, the atmosphere remains hushed. A steward passes softly down the corridor, his movements barely audible. The lamps glow steadily, casting no harsh shadows. Reflections ripple gently across the window as the train curves, blending interior warmth with exterior darkness. You feel cocooned, held within this moving space that asks nothing of you but to rest. As Budapest recedes further, the city lights thin into scattered points, then into darkness broken only by the occasional farmhouse or distant road. The Hungarian plain stretches outward, wide and flat, its details hidden by night. Yet there is no emptiness here, only quiet continuity. The train moves smoothly, confidently, as if it has traveled this way countless times before, and it has. Historically, this route carried diplomats, merchants, writers, and travelers bound for distant destinations. Tonight, though, the journey feels intimate and personal. There is no need to think of where you will arrive. The present moment is enough. The gentle sway of the carriage, the steady sound of wheels, the warmth around you, you allow yourself to sink into that simplicity. Your breathing grows deeper without effort. Each inhale feels unhurried, each exhale a release. Thoughts slow, losing their sharp edges. If a memory or idea surfaces, it does so briefly, then fades, carried away by the forward motion of the train. The Orient Express continues eastward, smooth and unwavering, guiding you away from the noise of the day. Outside, the night sky feels vast, though mostly unseen. Clouds drift somewhere above, stars appearing in faint clusters where the sky opens. The land passes quietly beneath the rails, fields resting, villages sleeping. Everything feels aligned with rest, with the natural pause that comes before dawn. You adjust slightly in your seat, finding the most comfortable position, then grow still again. The train's motion remains constant, a gentle, repetitive pattern that lulls rather than stimulates. You are no longer a passenger waiting to arrive, but a traveler suspended in motion, supported by steel, steam, and careful engineering. As the Orient Express leaves Budapest fully behind, the journey settles into its true pace. The night opens wide ahead, calm and unbroken. Wrapped in warmth and quiet, you feel yourself drifting deeper into relaxation, carried eastward under softly glowing lamps into the long, peaceful hours that follow. Moonlight spreads gently across the Hungarian plain as the Orient Express settles fully into its night rhythm. The last traces of Budapest have faded behind you, replaced by a vast openness that feels both expansive and comforting. Outside your window, the land stretches wide and flat, its details softened by darkness and distance. The moon hangs low in the sky, illuminating fields dusted with pale frost and casting long, delicate shadows that drift slowly as the train moves eastward. The motion is smooth and unbroken here. With no steep gradients or tight curves, the train glides effortlessly across the lowlands, its wheels producing a steady, even cadence. The sound is soothing and predictable, a gentle pattern that repeats without variation. You feel it beneath you, through the seat and the floor, a calm vibration that grounds you in the present moment. Your breathing aligns naturally with this rhythm, slow and unforced, each breath flowing easily into the next. Outside, the countryside sleeps. Fields lie dormant after the harvest, their boundaries barely visible beneath moonlight. Occasional rows of trees mark old property lines or trace the course of unseen streams. Their silhouettes pass quietly, never abrupt, always softened by distance. The plain feels immense, yet not empty. There is a sense of quiet continuity, of land that has rested and renewed itself through countless nights like this one. From time to time, a distant village appears on the horizon. Its lights are few and warm, clustered closely together as if for comfort against the night. A church tower might rise faintly above the rooftops, its outline just visible before slipping back into darkness. These glimpses are brief and gentle, offering a sense of human presence without breaking the calm. You notice them, then let them pass, content not to follow them further. Inside the carriage, everything remains hushed and composed. The lamps glow steadily, their light reflecting softly off polished wood and brass. Curtains hang neatly by the windows, their fabric heavy and reassuring. You remain comfortably seated, your body fully supported, muscles relaxed. There is no need to adjust or shift. The train's motion has settled you completely. The Hungarian plain has long been a place of passage, a wide corridor through which travelers, traders, and armies once moved. Tonight, though, it feels timeless and still. The Orient Express moves through it like a quiet thought, leaving no disturbance behind. You sense the vastness of the land, not as something overwhelming, but as something steady and dependable, a broad foundation beneath the rails. The moonlight brightens briefly as the clouds thin, revealing more detail in the fields beyond. You can make out subtle variations in the land, slight rises and dips, the faint suggestion of paths or tracks crossing the plain. Somewhere far away, A farmstead rests, its single lamp glowing faintly before vanishing behind the gentle curve of the earth. The view invites observation without effort, allowing your mind to remain soft and unfocused. The soundscape remains simple and reassuring. The low hum of the train blends with the rhythmic clatter of wheels, neither loud nor intrusive. Occasionally, a distant whistle echoes briefly across the plain, then fades into the night. It feels less like a signal and more like a quiet acknowledgement of the vast space surrounding you. You hear it, then return easily to the steady rhythm beneath you. As the train continues, signals appear intermittently along the track, their lights glowing red or green against the darkness. They pass calmly, one by one, markers of progress that require no attention. The Orient Express moves with confidence, guided by a route long established and carefully maintained. There is comfort in that certainty, in knowing that every mile has been traveled safely many times before. You notice how your thoughts have slowed. They no longer rush forward or circle back. Instead, they drift gently, like the scenery outside, appearing briefly before dissolving. If a memory surfaces, it does so without emotion or urgency, then fades naturally. The night, the motion, and the quiet all work together to create a space where thinking feels optional rather than necessary. The plane continues, uninterrupted. There are no dramatic landmarks here, no sudden changes to demand your attention. Instead, there is repetition, and within that repetition, peace. The train's steady progress becomes almost meditative, each mile blending seamlessly into the next. You feel held within this continuity, supported by the rails and the calm purpose of the journey. At times, the moonlight reflects off a narrow canal or a small river, revealing a ribbon of silver winding through the fields. The water lies still, mirroring the sky above, then disappears again as the train moves on. These moments feel like quiet gifts, offered briefly and then withdrawn, leaving no sense of loss behind. Inside, the warmth of the carriage remains constant. The air is neither too warm nor too cool, just enough to encourage relaxation. Your hands rest comfortably, fingers loose, your shoulders heavy in the most pleasant way. The gentle sway of the train continues, subtle and reassuring, like a slow breathing motion shared between you and the journey. Historically, this stretch of the route was often traveled overnight. The long, flat distances ideally suited to smooth, uninterrupted motion. Even now, you can sense why. The Hungarian plain feels designed for night travel, its openness amplifying the sense of forward movement while its simplicity invites rest. The Orient Express seems perfectly at home here, gliding silently beneath the moon. The stars grow clearer as clouds drift away, scattered across the sky in faint clusters. You notice them without counting or naming them. They exist simply as points of light, steady and distant. The land below remains dark and calm, a quiet counterbalance to the sky above. Together they frame the train's passage, making it feel small yet significant. You adjust your gaze, letting it rest somewhere between the interior reflections and the moonlit fields. The boundary between inside and outside softens, and the sensation of travel becomes more abstract. You are aware of motion but not effort, of distance but not separation. The journey feels continuous, unbroken by time. As the Orient Express continues eastward, the night deepens further. The villages become fewer, the signals more widely spaced. The plain stretches on, patient and unchanging. You remain settled, your breathing slow and even, your body fully relaxed. There is nothing you need to anticipate, nothing you need to prepare for. The steady rhythm carries you onward, deeper into calm, across the sleeping Hungarian plain under a quiet moon. Morning arrives almost without announcement, a gradual softening of the darkness rather than a sudden change. As the Orient Express begins its ascent into the Carpathian Mountains, the black-blue night outside the window lightens into deep shades of slate and silver. The steady rhythm of the wheels continues beneath you, unchanged and reassuring, as if the train itself is unconcerned with the passage from night to day. You remain comfortably settled in your compartment, wrapped in warmth while the first pale light seeps into the valleys. Forests emerge slowly from shadow-tall stands of fir and beech rising along the slopes, their upper branches brushed with early autumn frost. Mist drifts lazily between the trees, pooling in hollows and clinging to the curves of the land. The air beyond the glass feels cool and clean, even from here, carrying the suggestion of damp earth and pine needles. The train leans gently into its curves as the terrain begins to rise. There is no hurry in the movement, only a patient, measured climb that feels almost ceremonial. Stone cuttings appear along the track, their surfaces darkened by moisture, and narrow streams slip alongside the rails before vanishing again into the forest. Occasionally, the locomotive releases a low, distant breath of steam, a sound that blends seamlessly with the muted hush of the mountains. As the sky grows lighter, colors begin to settle into place. The greens of the forest deepen, touched here and there by the muted gold of early autumn leaves. Slender birch trunks catch the morning light, their pale bark glowing softly against the darker evergreens. Far below, glimpses of valleys appear through breaks in the trees, filled with rolling mist that moves slowly, like a living thing waking from sleep. Inside the carriage, everything remains calm and hushed. Curtains stir faintly with the motion of the train. Polished wood panels reflect the growing light in warm tones, and brass fittings gleam softly without glare. Somewhere down the corridor, a door closes quietly, followed by the distant, courteous steps of a steward beginning the morning routine. These sounds feel far away and unimportant, easily absorbed into the larger rhythm of the journey. The Orient Express continues its climb, passing through tunnels that briefly return the world to darkness. Each time the sound changes subtly, the wheels echoing against stone, the air tightening for a moment, before the train emerges again into pale morning. With every reappearance of light, the mountains seem closer, more defined, as though revealing themselves layer by layer. Higher now, the forest thins in places, opening onto slopes where rocky outcrops rise above the trees. Moss clings to stone, and low shrubs dot the hillsides, their leaves dulled by the cold. In the distance, ridgelines stretch across the horizon, softened by haze and touched with the faintest hint of rose as the sun approaches the edge of the sky. You may notice how your breathing has naturally slowed, matching the unhurried progress of the train. Each curve, each gentle rise and fall of the track encourages a deeper sense of ease. There is nothing to anticipate, nothing to prepare for, The journey unfolds at its own pace, carrying you through the landscape without asking anything in return. As the sun finally lifts above the mountains, its light filters through the mist in long, quiet beams. Valleys glow briefly before fading back into softer tones, and the windows catch flashes of brightness that never linger long enough to disturb the calm. The Carpathians feel vast yet welcoming, ancient and steady, offering their presence without drama. Villages appear occasionally, nestled into sheltered pockets of land. Small houses with sloping roofs rest beneath trees, their chimneys releasing thin trails of smoke into the cool air. Fields lie quiet and untouched, edged by fences that follow the contours of the hills. The train passes these scenes gently, without sound or ceremony, as if careful not to wake those still sleeping below. The ascent continues, smooth and deliberate. Viaducts carry the train across shallow ravines, offering brief, floating moments where the ground seems to drop away. From these heights, the view widens just enough to remind you of how far the landscape stretches, how many layers of forest and mountain lie beyond what the eye can hold at once. Inside, the warmth of the carriage contrasts pleasantly with the crispness suggested outside. Fabrics feel soft and reassuring, and the steady vibration beneath you is familiar now, almost soothing in its consistency. Time feels less structured here, measured not by clocks, but by the slow shift of light and the gentle repetition of motion. As the Orient Express reaches the higher passes, the air grows clearer. Mist thins and lifts, revealing sharper lines in the terrain. The mountains stand quietly in the morning light, their slopes patterned with forest, rock, and open ground. There is a sense of crossing a threshold, not marked by signs or announcements, but felt in the subtle change of atmosphere. You might imagine the generations of travelers who have passed this way before, carried through these same mountains by steam and steel. Their presence lingers faintly, not as stories or faces, but as a quiet continuity, a shared experience of movement through a timeless landscape. The thought drifts by without weight, easily releasing its hold. Gradually, almost imperceptibly, the climb begins to level. The train still moves through forested curves, but the effort eases, the motion smoothing further. Morning has fully arrived now, though it remains gentle and subdued, perfectly suited to rest rather than activity. The Carpathians surround the train in a calm embrace, their valleys and ridges offering a final stretch of quiet beauty before the descent that lies ahead. You remain comfortably still, carried forward without effort, your mind as untroubled as the mist dispersing in the growing light. The journey continues, steady and serene, as the Orient Express glides onward through the heart of the mountains, leaving you suspended in a moment where movement and stillness exist together, balanced and calm. The descent from the mountains is so gentle that you barely notice when it begins. The Orient Express eases out of the higher curves of the Carpathians and into wider valleys, its motion smoothing further as the morning light grows warmer. Forested slopes fall away gradually, replaced by rolling hills and open clearings where the mist has begun to lift. The sense of elevation softens, and with it comes a feeling of arrival, not yet at a station, but at the closing chapter of the journey. Ahead, the land opens into the basin that holds Brașov. The town rests quietly beneath its surrounding ridges, protected by the mountains that now glow softly in the early light. The sky has shifted to pale gold and silver, and the shadows are long and calm. From your window you glimpse rooftops clustered together, their colors muted and restful, as if still half dreaming beneath the dawn. The train slows almost imperceptibly. The steady rhythm that has carried you through plains and mountains begins to soften, stretching the moments between each gentle sound. Rails curve more frequently now, guiding the Orient Express through the outskirts of the town. Trees line the tracks, their branches still, leaves barely stirring. A narrow river appears briefly, reflecting the sky like a ribbon of light, then slips away again behind low stone walls. Church bells sound faintly in the distance, their tones round and unhurried. They do not demand attention, but rather seem to settle into the air, echoing gently between hills and buildings. The sound drifts toward you and then away, mingling with the soft, mechanical murmurs of the slowing train. It feels less like an announcement of morning and more like a reassurance that the world is awake, steady, and calm. Brașov's medieval walls come into view in fragments. Stone towers rise above treetops, their outlines softened by distance and light. Red-tiled roofs cluster below, following streets laid out centuries ago. There is a sense of history here, not as something heavy or imposing, but as something quietly present, woven into the landscape. The town appears settled and unhurried, content to receive travelers without ceremony. Inside the carriage, the atmosphere remains tranquil. The lamps still glow, though their warmth now blends with the natural light filtering through the windows. Reflections fade, and the view outside becomes clearer, more direct. You remain comfortably seated, aware of the shift in pace, but untouched by any need to prepare or move. The journey has carried you to this point without effort, and it continues to hold you in that ease. As the train approaches the station, details sharpen gently. Platforms appear, lined with stone and iron. A few figures move slowly in the distance, their motions calm and deliberate. There is no rush here, no clatter or calling voices. Everything feels measured, respectful of the quiet morning hour. The Orient Express glides alongside the platform, its motion now a whisper of what it was before. The wheels slow, the rhythm stretching and then settling into stillness. Steam rises softly once more, curling upward into the cool air, catching the light before dissolving. The train comes to rest as smoothly as it began, with no jolt, no abrupt end, only a natural pause. The bells sound again, faint and distant, marking the moment not as an ending, but as a gentle transition. Outside, the town of Brașov rests beneath the mountains, its streets beginning to stir, its rooftops warming under the growing sun. The Carpathians stand quietly beyond, their work complete, their presence now a calm backdrop to the town below. You remain where you are, breathing slowly, your body heavy and relaxed. There is no need to disembark, no need to engage with the day just yet. The sense of arrival exists without demand, allowing you to simply be present in the stillness that follows motion. The journey has carried you through night, across plains, into mountains, and back down into a place of rest. Now, as the train stands quietly in Brașov, Surrounded by stone walls and early light, you feel the final settling of calm. Everything has arrived exactly where it needs to be. You let the moment linger, supported by the warmth of the carriage and the quiet of the town outside. The Orient Express rests, the mountains rest, and you too are guided gently into stillness. The journey has slowed completely now, and there is nothing left to follow, nothing left to anticipate. The train rests quietly, and you are free to rest with it. The gentle motion that carried you through the night has softened into stillness, leaving only a sense of warmth and safety around you. Allow your breathing to become slow and natural. There is no rhythm to keep, no sound to attend to. Each breath comes easily, rising and falling without effort. With every exhale, let your body grow heavier, supported fully by the seat beneath you. The sounds of the world feel distant now. Any remaining echoes of wheels or bells fade into the background, replaced by a deep, quiet calm. Your shoulders loosen, your hands relax, your jaw softens. Nothing needs your attention. Outside, the morning continues without you. Light moves gently across stone walls and rooftops, but you do not need to follow it. Inside, everything remains dim, warm, and still. The space around you feels closed and protective, like a quiet cocoon. Thoughts, if they appear at all, drift slowly and without shape. There is no need to hold them or understand them. They pass the same way the scenery once did, briefly present, then gone. You remain settled, calm, and at ease. Imagine the steady presence of the train beneath you, solid and unmoving. The journey has done its work. You have been carried safely, gently, without effort. Now there is only rest. Let your breathing slow even further. Let the space between each breath widen naturally. Your body knows how to rest. Your mind follows easily. Nothing more is required of you. Nothing more needs to happen. You can drift now, comfortably and quietly, into deep, peaceful sleep. Sweet dreams and good night.